welcome to the EWPL podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Really nice for you to join.
Thank you.
So, you are the third American now that we do interviews with.
Okay.
Yeah, and the EWPL scene over there is a little bit different than here at least in Sweden. But
I got you. I've been listening to some of the stuff, and it is a little different, but it all kinds of falls in kind of similar, but it is a little different.
Yeah, it is. But the main thing is still the same. So yeah. And it feels like the people are pretty much the same as well. We are the guys that stick with the sport are nerds, so to speak, when it comes to weight pulling. Yeah,
like an obsession kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, but before we start getting into the weight pulling, can you tell me a little bit more about who you are and how you found the sport and your experience with dogs before?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So it all started, everybody, like I've always had like the bullier, like a basically a bully working pit bull dog style of dog, right?
Yeah.
And I've had them throughout most of my life and stuff like that. And then as I became an adult, one day I see I had a puppy, and one day I see somebody post something in a group about weight pull, right?
Okay.
And I seen it, they were doing a breeding, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this thing looks very interesting. I need to get into this,
Yeah.
And I messaged a couple people, and then I didn't know who the breeding exactly was from, because it was like it was one of those pages, like a business page.
Yeah.
So I messaged them and stuff like that, but they didn't get to me back on time. It was, I'm assuming it's just because they get a lot of messages and stuff like that. But I finally found the person that the stud belonged to.
Okay.
The one that obviously I was interested in. I was like, oh my God, I really got to, figure out what this is.
Yeah.
And I finally got contacted with him, and he talked me to, he started telling me about the sport and kind of going on about it, and told me, like, I need to find someone in my area, and so forth. That's basically it. I saw a video. I tried to find it. I didn't even know the name of the sport. It was just like, I need to know. Yeah. It was just like, I tried to Google like dogs pulling weight or something,
Yeah.
but it's not, I couldn't find nothing. So I was like so obsessed for a while until I finally found the owner of the dog, which is now has become actually one of my good friends, and who I truly appreciate, Chase Bowers. Like he became like in a sense like a mentor to me, after like after I got into it. We started talking more, and little by little we grew our friendship and stuff like that. And my whole, most of my, like, my training revolves around his style of training.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, eventually I ended up breeding to him and some of his dogs, and literally what I have on my when it comes to like my bullier working pit bull stuff, it's because like it's literally dedicated or centered around his dogs.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But your family has always had dogs and bred dogs as well, or?
Not really. We just always had dogs.
Yeah.
Like before, you had like the pit bull stuff, and it was when in reality it was like bullies, right?
Yeah.
So I had a bunch of those growing up throughout my teenage years and stuff like that. And then I finally got into more of that, looking for that little bit more like that working aspect kind of stuff. And eventually I found this, and then when I found people here in Florida, like, there's another person too, like Dina, out here in Lakeland. Like she guided me and gave me the entry, like to start and how to start, right?
Yeah.
And then I went from there, and she basically opened up this world to me and let me know what else is out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mentors are really important. Without them, you may start, but then, as Brian said in an earlier episode, it's too hard a sport to continue when you don't have a good mentor to continue with. Yeah.
Correct.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're located in Florida.
Correct. South Florida, basically.
South Florida.
South Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I always say that because when people come and visit me, they're like, oh, they think I live like somewhere in, close in, Florida, Georgia line. And then when
Yeah.
I tell them, no, you still got to come down like 4 or 5 hours, they're like, oh my God. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So how long does it take to drive from the north of Florida to the south? I've been
So
there
if
once, but we flew, so I have
I
no
got you.
concept of, yeah.
So for me, just to get to the like Florida Georgia line, it is about 5 to 5, depending on traffic, 5 to 6 hours.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
to get out of Florida. But if I go through the Panhandle, that takes me about 7 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, and that's why I don't travel as much as some of these guys
Yeah.
because just to get out of Florida, it's a hassle.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we over here we complain when we have more than 2 hour drive. So yeah,
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 yeah.
it's it's not only a long distance to the US. It's just a different size of country as well. So
Correct,
yeah,
correct, correct.
great. So, but how big is weight pulling in the south of Florida?
It's not as big. Unfortunately, the group kind of got disbanded and stuff because I started in the UKC. So
Yeah.
I started putting it in UKC, and that was obviously my entry because all we really pretty much had in Florida was UKC stuff. And then unfortunately the group got disbanded, and we have shows here and there, but it's nothing like like how it was a couple years ago where you had like there was especially a time of year like in February we had like 2 weekends back to back of like UKC pools, like 4 days in a row, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, I mean, it's nice. I always say like, there's different levels to this sport, and to me, there's nothing wrong with what you do, right? As long as you're doing something, competitively or just, something for you to have a hobby, right?
Yeah.
In general, it's all a hobby, but when you get to that level where we're kind of at and stuff like
Yeah.
that, it becomes more of a second job kind of thing, right? Obviously, a
Yeah.
job you love, but it does become a second job, yes.
Yeah, with no income, only expenses. Yeah.
Correct, correct, correct.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have enough shows that you feel happy in Florida, or do you need to
No,
travel outside? Yeah.
yeah. So that's me. I always have to travel outside of Florida, and I always have to like. I think the closest one would be probably probably Mississippi, which would be that ADBA show that happens in February, which is about 11 to 12 hours from me. So that's
Oh.
like my closest, Florida or weight pool show closest to me. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So there are no shows at the moment in the south of Florida
Not
at
really,
all.
unless they're
No.
like qualifyings, like how Brian was the
Yeah.
qualifyings for like APA or qualifyings for like what they have. I'm not sure if you're familiar with W3PO.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I've heard
yeah,
they, yeah.
yeah. So they have qualifyings as well, I believe, or um, I'm not sure what you would call it, but I believe it's qualifyings for W3PO down here in Florida as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
your focus are mostly ADBA and
ADBA, UPF, and sometimes APA.
yeah.
It all depends on how I feel with my dogs and how much they're giving me because I can't. It's hard to put them to three whole championships back to
Yeah.
back in such a short time. And that's why lately I haven't been doing APA because I tend to have to keep my dogs at peak basically for long periods of time, and I just don't like that.
No.
If I'm a lose, I like to lose because I was
Yeah.
a better dog, not because my dog was tired.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but how many dogs do you compete? Two, or how many are there at the
I
moment?
have at the moment I want to say three.
Yeah.
Three, yeah. Well, two. I have Cowboy and I have Luna,
Yeah.
and then I have the Cowboy's son, which is Cash, that I'm introducing this year. So
Okay.
yeah, so he's taking Cowboy's basically spot in weight pulling because he's 5 years old, going on 6, and I feel like it's time for him to rest a little bit because I've been doing this since he was a puppy,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying. It's time for him just to get fat and just just be lazy. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I competed till my dog was 9, from 1.5 years old. So, but
Yeah.
I had a few seasons where it was a
Yeah.
little bit more laid back.
Correct. Correct.
So they need
Correct.
to rest as well.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. The size of your dogs, how heavy are they when they compete?
So like Luna, she's like obviously she's some of the stuff that you hear I've been hearing in some of your
Yeah.
podcasts, and some of the breedings that that one of the breedings that I did. But she's obviously a pit bull off of the Waypole lines, and she's in the high 20s and the low 30s. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, pet weight, or lay around weight, it's probably about 33 pounds.
Yeah. Okay.
So she's about that, just normal weight. And then it
Yeah.
ranges all the way up to, like, your cowboy, for example, he'll be in the close to hundreds,
Yeah.
and then I bring him down to like in the 80s, 85,
Okay.
mid 80s to high 80s. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah.
cowboy, that's the black dog.
The black dog,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
He looked a little bit bigger than the other ones. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
he
So
does, he does. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So 80 pounds is, that's pretty much where my dog was. He was
I
like
got you.
75
I got
pounds.
you.
Yeah.
I
So
got you.
nice. Yeah. It's nice when there are a little bit more bigger dogs.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I think, like, so I got into obviously the smaller stuff, and that's mostly for me to weight pull against some of those great guys, like,
Yeah.
like the ones you've had on your show and stuff. And but my one of my biggest things is, like, I'd like to bring that bigger dog back into weight pull. I'd like to bring um the heavy light heavyweight class back, and make it like, Brian said, back in 2016, 17, they had most of those dogs in UPF were bigger dogs.
Yeah.
Um, that's ideally what I'd like to do. Bring those big dogs back.
Yeah, I like to hear that. Yeah, yeah, because we have the same issue pretty much here in Sweden, or Scandinavia, where the league
Yeah,
is, and it's mostly the smaller dogs around somewhere, from 20 pounds up to maybe 40, 45.
I got you.
Yeah, and then over that, it's like, let's say it's 50 dogs in a show, then it's 40, 45 dogs below 40 pounds. And then there are
And
five,
then
and
this,
a
yeah.
really, really good one. It's 10 dogs over that. So, yeah, it's nice to see the big dogs pull. It's
Yes, it
it's
is.
something
It is.
different. Yeah. You can hear it on in the cart.
Yeah.
The sound is different when the heavy dogs push. Yeah.
A- And I truly get impressed. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, these little dogs, they pull enormous
Oh, yeah.
percentage, enormous percentage. But, like, to me, like, what people, how I see it. So these dogs have been bred generation through generation through generation. So it's expected for them to be the top notch, right?
Yeah.
Now, some of these dogs I've seen, like, they have nothing behind them, or they just have no weight pull, or, some have some working aspect behind them, but not much. And then sometimes you'll get one of those dogs where you're like, holy, like, oh my God, I can't believe that dog. They blew my expectations for what I
Yeah.
thought. And that's always great to see. A little bit something different. I always like something different.
Yeah, it's really impressive. We had I'm not sure, it's like 65 kilos. That's 130, like 150 pounds, I think. Who has the most weight pulled in
Yeah,
kilos in this
yeah,
organization, and it's so impressive to see them pull.
yeah,
And that massive dog, it's something else. And I really enjoy the small dogs as well, but
yeah.
it's two different sports pretty
Mhm.
much, in my mind,
Yes,
at least. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Nice. Well, we didn't get to know when you started weight pulling. So how many years has you been doing it?
So I started. I want to say like 2000, closer to 2018, the beginning of
Yeah.
2018, I believe. So it hasn't been that long. That's when I kind of, like, would talk to Dina, and would kind of go back and forth, like, yeah, I'm gonna go. 2 hours to me was a long
Yeah.
way, just like you guys. Uh, and then I quickly learned that if you really want to be competitive, you gotta travel. Um, but yeah, it was about 2000, the beginning of 2018 and stuff like that when I had like one of my first shows. Um, it was kind of like I went and I didn't even know, I didn't even know the rules. I didn't know nothing. I was like, hey, how do you look up the things? And they told me, oh, it's on the website.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was rules. I thought they were just like you pull the dog and
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
it. Like I thought it was simple. I didn't know I thought you could pass. However, like, I
Yeah.
had a whole thing in my head. I didn't think it was not that it's complicated, but I didn't think it was as organized as it was, like little rules, fouls, and so
Yeah.
forth. Um, and I quickly learned like, oh, I got to study the rules because every organization is a little different. Um, but yeah, I mean that was pretty much it. And then I didn't start really being competitive until I want to say till 2001 maybe. It was just like here and there until then. 2000, 2001, like the year on COVID, that's when I really
Yeah.
started, traveling. And that's where I really started getting my program in line, and my routine got better. That's when I started talking to my buddy Chase, and he would video chat me, or I would send him
Yeah.
videos, and
Okay.
he'll call me. He'd be like, "Hey, this is what you could do," and it's so hard because I've tried to do that to people, and it's always hard to me to help somebody because I'm not physically there to
Yeah.
look at a dog, right? And and it's one of those things where I give him so much praise, and I'm always feel like so thankful to him because it's hard to find people who are willing to put time into you
Yeah.
and really do stuff, and give you your routine because
Yeah.
it's not something that happens much. You get tips and stuff here and there,
Yeah.
but you never really tell, hey, this is exactly what I do. Look out for this, blah blah blah, and so forth.
Exactly.
Um, yeah,
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 and it's really hard to do it over the phone to give tips
correct,
and yeah,
correct,
and it's yeah, you really need to be think
yeah,
careful with your words when
yeah,
you yeah when you're there in physical.
yeah,
It's way easier to show them
yes,
try this
yes,
and yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah, but now you are the guy in the south of Florida that helps people then
It,
or
yeah, yeah, I try.
yeah
I always tell people I don't feel fully complete. You know what I'm saying?
no
I still have plenty of things to do, I think I'm harder on myself. Just like it's
yeah
something natural that people do. You tend to be a little harder on yourself, and that's how I feel. There's still some things I feel like I still need to do to feel complete.
yeah.
And learn basically.
Yeah, of course. And then all of a sudden you have a new dog, and then
Yeah,
everything's pretty much
yeah,
the
correct,
opposite. Yeah, yeah.
correct, correct.
Even though they are yeah bred for it,
Yeah,
it's still
yeah,
a new
yeah.
individual that needs
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
Some are a little bit tougher, some a little bit softer, and yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Correct. Every dog is. eh, You train about. You have your routine, but every dog has its quirks that you need to do
yeah.
specifically for them. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Are your dogs now? Are there big difference?
Um. Well, routine wise, we do obviously the same. But there's other that I have to be a softer handler. Some
Yeah,
dogs. Even if I accidentally they get too close and I clip them with like when I'm walking,
yeah,
they they freak out. They're like, "What happened?"
yeah, yeah,
And then there's other dogs that totally do not care what happens to
no,
them. Like it's just one of those things where they're like, "Oh, okay, let me keep going."
yeah,
But like I said, it comes in different personalities. Dogs are just different. And one of the things I tell people is like one of the most important things that I've noticed is you have to learn to read your dog's like body language.
yeah,
You have to learn their strengths, their fatigues, their steps, even like the way they wiggle. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's one of
yeah,
those things where you start seeing different pattern, and obviously pattern comes too with the pressure you're putting on, and you'll see a shift in body language. But that's things that you have to experiment with and and look out for while you're training your dogs. But in reality, like you know, they're they're similar and different at the same time. I don't
Yeah.
even know how to truly explain it. Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
really hard. Yeah, yeah,
It is.
because yeah, as you said, you do pretty much the same routine when you train
Yeah.
them, but as you said also, when you know how to read your dog and you see
Mhm.
all the signs, then you need to act on them on those signals in a different
Correct.
way. Yeah,
Correct. 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 Correct.
that's the hard part because yeah, you have some, as you said, that as long as they pull, you can do
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
Correct.
and
Correct.
some of them they really need to concentrate because otherwise
Yes.
they lose their track.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's interesting. It's yeah, I think the thing that Brian said, that why it's not a bigger sport is that
Mhm.
it is so
It-
hard. Yeah,
correct. Correct. Correct.
uh, and that's
Uh,
yeah, that resonated with me really good because I that's one of the reasons we started this podcast
yeah.
from the beginning, is try to get the sport to get bigger.
Yes.
But the more episodes we do, the
Yeah.
harder we realize it is to get it bigger because
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a
I
hard
mean,
part to train them. Yeah,
I always think people like, sometimes like, for example, like they'll see videos like, they'll see people in nationals, or they'll see people like, you only always see the good, right? You see
yeah,
what your best, but you never see sometimes how much time or how much effort we had to put into in corrections, and just like, you know, uh, just overall being with the dog,
yeah,
for them to be where they're at. And sometimes I always try to tell people like, pace yourself.
yeah,
What so and so is doing. It's like they've done this for years. But they dedicate their life to it. They dedicate their
yeah,
self to it. And that's why sometimes I think things like this are important, because you get to see everybody's point of view. But like, one of the things that I always tell people is like, pace yourself. If you truly want this, you'll get there eventually. You just got to be patient, and just find your routine, and go from there, and then tweak
yeah.
whatever it is that you need to tweak, but find your routine first. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
it takes time. Isn't
Yeah.
not only the
Oh,
time of training, but maybe even a couple of dogs before
yeah.
you actually know what you're
Correct.
doing. Yeah,
Correct. 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 And obviously I'm new and stuff like that. And, and it's things that you do, things that you weren't even aware of, that you obviously, either were taught or saw, or just in general, think was a good idea, or
yeah,
really wasn't. Um, and then, one thing that this has truly taught me is to be patient. Like, patient is the key. Um, not every dog's gonna perform the same, and it's just one of those things where it's just like, time will come. And what was my buddy was saying, Emmanuel was saying, he's like, we're a year from now or 2 years from now, we're all gonna be the same place.
yeah,
Some are gonna get there faster, some are gonna get there slower.
yeah,
But eventually we're gonna be there all together at a national or championship, and we're gonna be neck to neck.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's really wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much has your routine or training changed from 2018 when you started until
Oh
now?
wow. Oh wow. Like, it has changed a lot. I've learned less is better.
Yeah,
I used to think, and some people, not saying that they're bad, but when you want to get like into really building a dog, um, I always tell people, like, I understand there's information out there that says, work a dog for a mile, or so forth, drag them for a mile. I don't, I used to do that. I used to count, my laps around and stuff like that, and measure, oh, maybe I did like, a mile, or a mile and a half. Um, but I quickly learned, and when I, obviously when Chase got involved with me, he was telling me, you did too much,
yeah,
do less reps, and always go straight and
yeah,
come right back straight. Um, and it went down to maybe like, a quarter of a mile,
yeah,
to sometimes even less, because I got different routines that I do. Um, so like, I probably don't do more than quarter of a mile, and I do a couple reps, per dog, and uh, it's become easier.
yeah,
It's become easier, and it's it's simple. It's simple, but it works. But at first I was doing stuff and I was trying stuff and I was like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. And we're, trying to do everything in the world, under the sun to see like maybe I'll get a, advantage by doing this,
Yeah.
but I quickly learned, less is better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I realized that the last couple of years. Yeah. In the beginning, we did no less than 2 miles
Yeah.
on all
Yeah.
the drag work.
Hmm.
And now my idea is more about, somewhere around a quarter of a mile to a half a mile,
Hmm. Hmm.
depending on how new the dog is.
Yeah.
My idea is that the newer the dog is to the training, the longer you go, but
Yeah.
still it's
You,
maybe
in
a
a
half
sense,
a
yes.
mile
Mhm.
as the longest. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I, once I get into a routine with a puppy, it's very similar. Like, I put a little bit more, um, I guess I teach a little bit more resistance than any kind of, like physical weight pressure.
Yeah.
Because I want to, I want them to feel that burning sensation, just like how when you work out. That's how I see everything. So I see everything like as a physical person, like me and you were to go to the gym and I'm training you to that mental state where you're like, okay, the majority of the people when they work out, they feel muscle fatigue or they feel burned and they stop.
Yeah.
Now those athletes are pushing while that burning and knowing I'm pushing is burning, blah blah blah, so forth. And that's what I try to instill in a puppy, not a puppy like like a 2 or 3 week old puppy,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about like a 5 to 6, 7, 8 month year old puppy.
Yeah.
Um, under that I'm just kind of instilling stuff. Just kind of getting them used to the flow. And then we eventually find our routine where I'm like, okay, now you're ready for me to actually introduce you to part of my routine, and then now you are incorporated into our drag sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's nice. So you typically start with the drag work somewhere around 5 to 6 months old. Uh,
So to be honest with you, I put a dog early, about maybe 3 months old.
yeah.
I look at how they do, and if one, my harness have to fit. If it doesn't fit,
Yeah, yeah, of
I wait.
course.
Um, but if I see like that they're physically still not good to do it, I go ahead and like I do walks, just regular walks up and down my drag strip, back and forth with a leash, um, and then until I build that kind of like that and still those thoughts are like, okay, we're gonna go, we're gonna come back, we're
Yeah,
gonna go and come back, and then eventually I'll pop a harness on and see how they do, and I'll either decide to put something on it or just keep the harness on, um, and then go from there. But you know, and that's basically it and I'll do those stuff here and there with them until eventually, like all of a sudden, they're in the rhythm, and then I do more days until eventually I'm like, well, we already built a routine.
yeah,
Now you can come when I bring the other dogs out, and you
yeah,
can now come into us. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I do it with the puppies.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's that has been a debate here a
Hmm.
couple of years. How early you can start, and
Yeah.
I always say that I brought my puppy when he was 8 weeks to his
Hmm.
first weight pull
Hmm.
training. Well,
Hmm.
he beat his older sister and he was just a menace. Yeah, but he got used to everything.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
we drag with chains, so
Hmm.
there are sounds and everything, but
Yeah.
he never mind, because that was
Yeah.
just a normal day for
Correct.
him. So
Correct.
in my mind, I started to train him at 8 weeks,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he didn't pull any weight. But it's
Yeah.
still, as you said,
Yeah.
just to make them comfortable
Like
with all.
like an
Yeah,
imprinting kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
exactly.
that's why I always try to, like, when people say like training, I always try to say like instilling or imprinting, because like the newer person wouldn't get. They're like, oh, they're already trained. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So it's one of those things where I've lately tried to pick my words correctly, because I want to make sure that information is going out there. Like, we're just kind of instilling and imprinting stuff onto that puppy. It's not an actual physical, at least on my end, it's not an actual physical, strain on the body. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things
Exactly.
where, yeah, that I try to make sure, because I know a lot of people like think, oh my God, they're already doing this. Why can't I do it?
Yeah, and that's the dangerous part when you have, because there will always be people that don't
Yeah,
really understand what it is you're doing,
correct.
and then all of a sudden it's someone who have a 3 months old puppy and they
Yeah,
put a lot of weight on them,
yeah,
and yeah, and everything
yeah,
goes to hell, and yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not the thing we are talking about. No.
Correct, 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 correct.
Yeah. So
Um,
you do drag work on the same strip always, or
yes, yes. For the most part, I always do drag work on the same strip all the time. Like I don't take my dogs really much out and do stuff. What I try to do at home, because I know some people, want that little bit of chaos, want that little bit of different, atmosphere and stuff like that. Like I've done it all. Like I've had, my kids playing around. I've had family members over. I always have music in the background. I've even tried chickens. Like I've had chickens in the background so that they learn. So
yeah,
to break away from any kind of like, turning around, because that does happen at a show when somebody will say, "Hey," and then the dog will be like, who yelled,
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
just something simple or something fell, a chair fell. I never want them to feel spooked or something happened, that for them to kind of stop pulling. So I understand some people do and bring
yeah.
dogs to different strips. Yeah,
Yeah, but the last years that I trained, I did
yeah,
same strip every time, because it,
yeah,
yeah. First of all, it's more easy to compare the different training
hmm,
sessions with each
yeah,
other to see where
yeah.
everything is going.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct, correct.
and it's the different when you try to win. Then you need to have
Yeah,
all the metrics. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So I have my drag strip measured in different sections, and I use for different things. So I have,
yeah.
like, you
Okay.
see me with little those little measuring, like, big cane wires, almost like fishing poles that I use,
Yeah.
and I have them throughout different sections that I know what this today we're gonna do this, today we're gonna do that, uh and for me, I'm a firm believer in dragging. Like,
Yeah.
dragging is my number one thing. I rarely put them on the track.
Yeah.
Um, not saying that it's a bad thing, which I should do a little bit more of, but I just find so much joy in dragging. Like
Yeah.
I truly enjoy dragging weight. Um, at least on my end, I can see them improving. I have sand, like I have beach sand out
Yeah.
here, so the resistance here is very crazy,
Yeah.
and it's been working phenomenal for me. And it helps me even just with one window weight. Like I have window weights that are cracked,
Okay. Yeah.
like in half, so I could pull half a window weight, because even one window weight is a tremendous difference, because there'll be more resistance, because some will sink into it. Obviously, depending on the weather, if it's rain more, it's not so much. But when it rains, it creates a groove in the ground where the everything tightens up together, and then for them to slip it out, it becomes like almost like a different workout. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like a
Yeah.
different type of session. So that's why one of the pluses, how you say you like to have them in the same drag
Yeah.
strip. Like that's how I am too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. I've only done it with beach sand once, and it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a different beast, so to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I live in where we don't have much beaches here. We
Yeah.
mostly have trees, so
Yeah.
I'm in the woods. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So, but how often do you do drag? And
Uh,
do you section
I,
it depending on
yes.
where in the season? And yeah,
No. So what I do is I'll
yeah.
have like what I would consider, it's not really a long drag. I have what I consider a long drag and a short drag.
Okay. Yeah.
And one of them is for a heavier, and the other one's for like, it's not light, but it's not heavy. They're able to complete it. And I break it up into two and stuff like that. And that's basically what I do. I don't bring like the puppies. That's why I don't bring them into full routine until afterwards. First, I incorporate the long drag, which is for resistance, and then I bring in the other stuff. They eventually get into the heavier drag, which that's to me that simulates um almost like a them being on the track, because it's a constant heavy. You got to muscle through the whole thing, the whole
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
and it's one of those things where it's like, and me having that type of sand, it's what makes it a plus and actually brings out that, and I'm able to do those type of that type of a strain on their body, because it digs in the sand, so they have to. It's not a constant flow. They have to continue to muscle through the weight, especially when it's really heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do a long and a short drag. Do you do? We have something that we call start and stop here. That we do. You start. This is really heavy drag typically, and you start and you go. 5 yards, pretty much, and then you stop, and then you do 5. Then you rest for 20 seconds or something, and then you do another start and 5 yards. Do you do anything like that in your training?
I do not. The only time I ever stop is like if I see my dog about to stop because they're tired. So I'll stop them before that, and I'll give them a break, and then we keep pulling. But I generally don't. I just like for them to go one way and then come right back. I do stop them at the end of because then I reset the chain and then we go back. But I do stop them about maybe 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how heavy breaths they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said a really important part there. I think when you realize that your dog is starting to, the fatigue sets in and they want to stop. If you stop them, they don't they don't realize that it was them that was tired.
Correct. It's just like, okay, we stopped finally.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, correct. But I always tell people there's two different types of dogs like that. Like, and I always tell them like you have to. Then that comes with understanding your dog, because there is dogs that pretend to be tired.
Yeah.
Because they're being lazy that day, and there's dogs that you actually see movement because you see twitching in the muscles or twitching in the back, and it's just like being able to get those last steps in. And that's what I always tell people, like there's a difference for when to stop it and when to keep give a correction and be like, okay, come on, I know you can do it, and then so forth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's hard because you really need to. The smart dogs, they will fake.
Correct.
Yeah.
I always say the dumb dogs are gonna do it. The dumb dogs are gonna be like, okay, let's get it. And the smart ones are gonna be the ones that are like, I wonder if he's paying attention. You know what I'm saying? And I always say the dumb dogs will do it. The smart dogs are the ones that are gonna really, push your buttons.
Yeah. We joke around, a friend and I, and said, we want some dumb dogs when it comes to training because they are way easier to train. They just go. Yeah,
exactly.
But you want a smart dog when it comes to competing.
Yeah,
because they don't burn all energy at once. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. So, do you have a difference when it comes to that between your dogs?
I think I do. I always have that. Like I've had dogs like Luna. She's kind of been like in the middle of like she has such a strong like personality about herself. Like you could just see it in her whenever she's doing stuff or when she looks. She just has like I am her. I'm the one. And like you have dogs like Cowboy where it's like who's this and it becomes like a challenge because you'll see different characters come out at different times, and it's like a mixture. I'll have dogs that will be like, well, today I don't really feel like doing nothing. I'm gonna go in my dog house. I'm gonna go in my dog house, not come out. Maybe he doesn't see me, but and then I have other dogs that are just like so, like let's go get this, and then like even like the dogs that do that, there's sometimes they shoot out of their kennels, and because I have a thing, I put them in their kennels, and as soon as we're about to train, I have the harness like in my hand, and they'll walk into my harness.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I have dogs that are that give me troubles go into their harness, and they know the routine, but it's just like one of those things where it's like, oh, well, today I don't really feel like it. But I am the coach. I'm the coach is telling
Yeah.
you, come on, if you take too many days off, it's not gonna be good for you because it's
No.
not gonna benefit you when we compete. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Do you have any longer resting periods?
Yes,
Yeah.
like off season.
Yeah. Off season, pretty much. Yeah.
So for me, yes, I have an off season where basically when we're done all with nationals, and and championships, I'll rest them for like a month or two, like
Yeah.
just laying around. About a month and a half to two, I start to I still consider it an off season, but I'll put them on the carpet mill.
Yeah.
Just 10, 15 minutes, and they just do little things like they're just walking, just to keep them somewhat active. Um, but I do that for until I feel like it's time to get back into season. And they do that for a couple months, and I don't really start gearing up for anything until because I tell you I don't really do as much shows. I usually
Yeah.
go to one show right before nationals, and then see evaluate my dogs, and then go to nationals or championships. But for the most part, I don't kick it into gear. I want to say until about um, May, June,
Yeah.
somewhere around there, and then I do about three to 4 months of drag, and then I ease them into it. Like I'm not somebody that starts hitting them like hard right away. I ease back into our routine until we get back to the 4 days, and go from there, and then then I incorporate the heavier stuff. But out of resting, I never incorporate my full routine. I
No.
ease into it. That's why I do like 4 months in advance, because I start
Yeah.
incorporating it slowly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I think you need to do that. Otherwise,
hmm
it's way
yeah,
too stressful for them
yeah, yeah,
physically. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
do you use the carpet mill even during the drag
I
period?
do. I do not. I do not. I only incorporate the drag. I mean, sorry, the carpet mill whenever we are like, especially down here in Florida, we get a lot of tropical storms, hurricanes,
Yeah.
you name it. Um, and unless it's thundering outside, or there's a very bad lightning storm, that's most of the time when I use the carpet mill, because it's a kind of like my cheat date. I sit
Yeah.
here on the couch. I bring down the carpet mill, and then I time them and so forth. But I do keep track of time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And body language and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
mostly for my cheat days. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's nice. But you said you don't do that much track work.
I don't. And the
No.
funny thing is, I've had a track for a long time,
Yeah.
and I just got like a really good track, um, and I still haven't even set it up or found. I don't. I'll probably bring it back. I'll probably bring it out and set it up just to give it a test run, because that's the track we're going to use for ADBA Nationals this year.
Oh.
So yeah, so I'm taking my track. So for anybody listening, we're gonna have a good track at nationals. Just FYI, new carpet. We're gonna have a good track, and it's gonna be a fun time. But
Yeah.
so yeah, so um I'm gonna put it out, kind of run through it, see how it's pulling, how it's doing, and incorporate it, the track into my dogs, for the last maybe month and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that's a rail track, I presume.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, and it's what is it that makes just this track so good?
So I had to say like the maker. So I believe it's Evan Jake Jenkins. He's the same guy that made the UPF track.
Okay.
So it's identical to the UPF track. So it's the same style, same width, I believe, same dimensions and everything as the UPF track. How it runs smoothly, how it's consistent the whole time. Just a nice heavy duty track overall that can handle, you know, a good amount of weight. Um, and you know, last thing you want is for it to have quirks, you know, within the track. So you know, if you want, like I always tell people, if I have a hard track, if I pull at a hard track, I rather have a consistent pulling hard track, and I don't want a track that gets easy, gets hard, gets easy. You know, it becomes. I just don't like it. You know, I want something hard or something, you know, leveled throughout the whole thing, but consistently pulling smoothly. Yeah.
I concur. It should be the same all the way.
Yes.
Over here we pull mostly on dirt, wheels on dirt, and they are not consistent all the way. So, and it's a charm in that as well, but it's way more equal, or what's the word? More. Fair.
Fair in a sense. Everybody gets the you know, the same type of friction, I would say, right? Everything's gonna be the same. Yeah,
of course. So where is the ADBA Nationals this year?
It's gonna be in Alabama, so it's about, I think it's 9 hours away from me. So this is gonna be very close for me. Yeah,
that's nice. So so you take the track up to the show.
Yes. We're going to take the track. Brian's going to set it up. Brian and Emmanuel are going to set it up. I'm just going to supervise. Because he's familiar with the track. You know, he's good for Chase too. So he's put on this track multiple times, and, you know, they're going to set it up and stuff like that. And we're going to recarpet the track. So it's going to have new carpet. I mean, it's going to be a good pool, I believe. Yeah.
What type of carpet do you use on the tracks?
I believe it's the Berber carpet. It's like a looped carpet.
Okay, and it's continuous all the way.
So like this, you know, they'll be able, and it's a nice thick carpet, so they'll be able, like the dogs with nails, and just overall they'll be able to grip it, you know, and be able to pull, you know. So it's gonna be one of those things where it's gonna be just gonna come up to, you know, who has the better dog.
That's nice. That's nice, and that's the way it should be on nationals.
Exactly. You know, we're hoping to have a small, if there is an incline, to have a small incline. That way we can really, you know, put you know, have a good show, because I'm sure you guys will want to see, like, oh my God, look at that dog. Or, oh my God, you thought that dog was good. Look at this one, you know?
Exactly.
So that's what we're hoping to bring, you know, and then, you know, we're trying to make everybody happy, to make sure we have a consistent track, and everybody feels comfortable and happy with the track, you know?
That's nice. When it comes to the tracks, do you prefer inclined track, or do you prefer it flat?
I've always pulled on I have bigger dogs, and I don't want to stack weight. You know, like I know Brian says he likes a flat level track. Not me. You know, I use my track mostly for repetitions. And I use my track. I mean, that's basically it. I just use it for repetitions and for the dog to get used to it. You know, just to feel and to get used to that motion, right? I don't use it to see where my dog is at, because the way I see it, I already put a lot of pressure when I drag. Like I'm talking about, it's like a one pull kind of thing, pressure, right, on my dogs when I'm dragging. And even if I get high numbers on my track or whatever it is, every track is different. So to me, I never care to where my dogs are at, weight wise. I only like to see it repetitions, because that's where I'm seeing the growth, right? I only like to see, like, oh man, you know, you're doing pretty good today. I put another drop on you, or 2 drops, and you're handling it like a champ. So, and it's one of those things where for me, the track isn't, it doesn't really matter as much as for just kind of to get the dog used to it. But as in like leveled or inclined, I've always liked it inclined, because I my back hurts, you know, my back. I don't want. That's basically it, you know.
That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
reason. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. I gotta do it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I gotta do this again tomorrow. So it's one of those things where like, people say when they see me pull the dogs, you get people saying things about, when you have dogs dragging or whatever. I'm like, you guys do realize I'm the one that has to unload this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
one that has to reset this chain, and I do it with multiple dogs. These dogs are doing it a couple times. I'm doing it triple, quadrupling, the
Yeah.
time. Um, I'm like, you guys just don't see that. But yeah, yeah, yeah. I need to be good for tomorrow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
And that it's cool with the really, really big pulls, but
yeah,
yeah, you need to
yeah.
unload
Correct.
all the weights as well. What
Yeah.
what what kind of weights do you typically use on the tracks? Is it
Um, Uh,
like concrete plates
uh,
or?
no, so I use the solid cinder blocks.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, so and I think the ones I got are 35 pounds because you can either get like the 33 or the 35, and I found the 35 pounds bricks. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
So that's pretty much the same as we do over here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some old videos from the States where they used
Like the beams.
all kind beams,
Yeah,
steel
yeah,
beams, and
yeah.
all also feeding bags.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah,
Especially on the wheels.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and those but the cinder block is
yeah,
way easier to handle. But
yeah.
yeah,
I used to think that the winner took the whole cart of feed bags. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you're back. Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
worth it.
in that case you really
Yeah,
push for it. Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
yeah. So when it comes to feeding, what do you do? Kibbles or do you do
I
a
do
raw feed?
kibble. I
Yeah,
do kibble. I do I feed Victor and a Nookshuk. So I feed
yeah,
Victor for like my puppies and stuff like that, like the all life stages. And for my dogs competing, I feed a Nookshuk. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. I had never heard about nutshuk.
yeah.
What's
A
nutshuk?
Nookshuk. It took me a
Yeah,
while, trust me.
yeah,
I
yeah,
butcher names like no tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
I'm one of those that say so. You tell me something, I say the opposite.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And it was so I had to do some reading after the
yeah,
episode with Emmanuel. Yeah,
yeah.
I used to worked with pet food at a
Okay,
pet food company here in Sweden.
I got,
So
I
yeah,
got you.
so got the interest was high, and it looks really really good. Yeah, so
Yes, yes,
yeah, I don't think we have it over here, but we have similar types as well. Yeah, but it's way
yes.
easier with kibbles. But how
Correct.
many dogs do you have at home?
So
Three,
I have 7. I have
seven.
7.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, yeah. So I have 7 right now. I have Nova, which was the dog that I started pulling with.
yeah,
Nova's Cowboy's dam, and she's my dog that I did things I should have never done, which is crazy that she still competed at a high level. And I'm did I cut off or no?
yeah. You cut off. Yeah,
Okay,
but
sorry, I was
yeah,
receiving a call.
yeah,
I had to take it off. But yeah, it was one of those dogs where I was able to correct stuff, and she still was able to keep up with some of the bigger dogs and dogs in her class. So I was always happy, and I always wish I had her now and
yeah.
not the first dog.
So what was the biggest fault that you did with her
So
when you
my
have?
biggest fault was, like I said, it was incorrect. I guess not. I don't say incorrect training, but I guess I wasn't preparing her for the strain in her, like that pressure, right? I
Yeah,
wasn't preparing her for what she was gonna see at the high level of competition, and I don't take nothing away from people, like, what I'm saying, like, I always respect everybody that does stuff with their dogs. At UKC we were doing great. Like, I was doing, like, I was maxing out. I was doing the 65%, and I was doing them like in 10 seconds,
yeah,
and it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I want to do something more, and then when I brought her there, I was like, oh, wait a minute. She was still, doing good, but I felt like, okay, this is where I'm really going to learn how to bring out the best of the dogs, you know? So I have her, I have, Cowboy, I have Luna, um, I have a pup off of, one of the, um, off of, Cowboy, which is Cash. And I have, I have, I actually got a pup off of that Emmanuel breeding that he did with Max. So that
Oh,
same breeding that Brian has, I got one of those, and and then I have one of those fresh pups that off of that Luna breeding.
yeah.
Yeah, that I'm working on. So so I know they're working the pups hard, Emmanuel and Brian and stuff like that. So if you listen to this, I'm coming. you know,
Yeah. Beware, beware.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Nice, nice. So
Yeah.
is there a big difference like Luna and Cash? Is there a big difference in their
And
base ground set? The basic instinct of pulling because they
I
have different types of breeding in the
I don't
background.
want to. Yeah, it's you know what? That's why I tell people with Cash. I think I got lucky too because I rarely have ever had to get out like make any corrections. It's the weirdest thing ever. I don't know. He has such a demeanor that I never know when to bump him back up. Because even though he comes off, I mean, so the bigger stuff is still bred for weight pool stuff. It's still
Yeah.
like, it does have generations of weight pool line, but
Okay. Yeah.
not like Luna, right? Not like
Okay.
Luna, but it is a couple generations of weight pool, and then um, but his demeanor for this, I actually had more trouble with Luna than I did with Cash, which is crazy. Cash just has a demeanor of him that's like he just muscles through stuff, and that could be my training. That could be just
Yeah.
because I've evolved as a trainer, right?
Yeah. Of
Uh,
course.
but it's still something that it's still it's scary because he doesn't show me stress in his face. He shows
Oh.
me stress in his body. He doesn't show me worry in his face.
Oh.
Some dogs will be like a little bit more
Yeah.
stressed or a little bit more panicky. He doesn't show me that. So it's like I can only go by what I'm looking at in motion,
Yeah.
not like response. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
The best dog that I had, he was once we were pulling, you couldn't
mhm,
see anything in his face.
yeah,
Competing was a different story. He had a lot of problems there, but
yeah, yeah,
when we did the drag work, you had to watch, especially in his case, the rear end
mhm,
when that's where where he showed when he was tired.
yeah,
And before I realized that it was that way, we pulled it. I pulled him a little bit too hard a couple of
yeah,
times. Yeah, but yeah, interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
but it's funny that it's really more personality traits
Mhm.
that show more than the breeding in these two cases, at least in your
Yes,
two.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah, nice. And it sounds like you have competed in quite a few different organizations.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah,
I've competed. Obviously, like I said, I started in UKC. Then I made my way to ADBA. Did a little bit of stuff with ADBA. Everybody always told me because I started with the bigger dogs. They're like, come over to, UPF. UPF was where it's at for the bigger dogs. So I went. I couldn't make it out there because it was for me. It's a 24-hour drive just to go to UPF. Yeah, so I was like, I'm still not that dedicated. Um, and then, eventually, I did, and then, everybody was like, well, try APA. APA is similar to UPF. So I went to APA. I did APA, and I tried it. I liked it, then I decided, hey, let me go to UPF, and I did UPF and APA that same year. And ADBA, I did all three of them. And I mean, now I'm trying to go and doing W3PO. I'm gonna try to get get a winning and W3PO. to get another like national title for Luna, because she's gotten the UPF, she's got an APA. This year, I'm gonna Emmanuel ain't gonna get it, so I'm gonna get it from ADBA. Um, and it's one of those things like now I just like to put these wins under her belt, to show her to show how great of a dog she is, and how she can compete with, some of the better, the better dogs out there, unfortunately I can't showcase her and prove her, how other people can't prove her dogs, because I just don't have the time to do it, yeah, and that's basically it. Like, taking time from work is always one of those things where, it's hard, it's hard to take time off from work. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. That's the biggest issue. Yeah. But when it comes to the rules in these, because now you're talking about 4 different organizations. I know the main part is pretty much the same when it comes to the rules, but I learned that you have skips and you have fouls and So what's your thought about all these special things?
I don't care too much about fouls, because like I believe there should be something like, I don't even know if I could call it a foul. Like sometimes it could be the way I let go of a dog. It could be a misstep. You know what I'm saying? So that I could see the fouls when they come into play, like one foul, maybe, but fouls themselves, like I've learned to kind of, I only take advantage of like my puppies, but when I know my dog is done, they are done. You know what I'm saying? Unless it was like a misstep. So sometimes like I don't care too much about fouls. Now when it comes to like, I did something, or I released them wrong or too far, that they hit it too hard, and then it's like, oh my god, that's when I wish I had a foul. But in reality, I always try to be careful with my steps. Foul wise, I could do away with them. I don't care about the fouls as much. For the skipping, that's where I've, bit off more than I could chew, because at ADBA, I always come in too early. I always come in too early, and then after my skips are done, I kind of like, where else do I go? Now I got to pull every single rep. I'm not a fan of having a X amount or I'm not a fan of having, somebody allowed to. You can only have 2 skips. You can have 5 skips, or you can skip in between, because like in UKC, you can, once you pull a weight, you can only skip two drops, and you have to pull on the third one. So you can always skip 2 and pull on the third, skip 2, pull on the third. So and in ADBA, I believe it's like I think you get like, I'll say like 4. I think it's 4 passes, and that's it. I don't, yeah, I don't think, I don't like that rule whatsoever at all. I don't like it, because some dogs could come at their best, and you see like your opponent come in, and you're like, oh man, that dog was different this time. Oh, maybe I should come in because it looks different. And then you'll come in too early, just being nervous, and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. I should not have done that. And I wish ADBA went away from that. Like took that having an X amount of passes or skips. Like I'm a fan of UPF, and I think that's why we're able to do what we do at UPF, because we get that warm up, but we get to also feel when we should properly bring in a dog instead of feeling rushed. When should I bring in the dog?
Yeah. When I heard about the skips, that was one of my my things. I'm trying to choose my words here, but where we compete, we have unlimited skips. And it's quite nice to go in early and get 1 or 2 warm-ups, and then you skip for when it becomes really heavy, and especially on wheels, you really need the track as well. So one or more times you need to go in, because some dog had teared up the track, and well, now it's not easy anymore.
It's
So
not. It's
yeah,
uneven. Yeah.
yeah, it's uneven. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a whole lot of other level with
Correct.
limited
Correct.
amounts of skips. Yeah,
And I've seen dogs because I've done natural wheels too, and I've seen dogs where I pull dogs, and we're having a great time. Everybody's pulling straight, and it starts to get hard. Now all these dogs are moving
yeah,
side to side, and they're digging where the wheels are going.
yeah,
So now that ground is not as compact as it was before. So now you got to come in and you got to muscle through that divot
yeah.
in the ground. It's like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we have had a lot of really, really good fights where, yeah, like I'm not so sure, 10 centimeters, that's 4 inches away from the goal line. There's a divot, and the cart stops, and it's pretty much,
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry. I
no
keep getting
problem,
I keep
no,
getting
no,
calls.
no, yeah, no problem. But it's pretty much impossible when you have 4 inches left, and the wheels is in a divot. It's yeah, needs a miracle to get it loose.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly, exactly. It
yeah,
it it can be. I mean, I personally have always found it like interesting because I never really got. I've only got to compete in natural wheels for numerous of times, like very few times.
yeah,
Um, but I always find it. Uh, I wish we had more. I should say. I wish we could do more natural wheels. You
yeah,
know, because it is interesting to see that aspect. Because some dogs are better at natural wheels than they are, for example, like on carpet, on something
yeah,
something harder. Um, I would like to see something like that. That's why I've never cared because I've done both. I've done artificial wheels,
yeah,
which is on carpet. I've done natural wheels, and I've done obviously the rails, which for the most portion of me pulling. But I got to give it to you guys because that natural wheels it could be really hard. Somebody makes it look easy and then they ruin the whole track, and then here
yeah,
comes,
yeah,
the next person has to deal with that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and over here it's quite we the regulations from yeah, I'm not sure, it's the government pretty much. It
I
states that
got
we
you.
need to have fences on both sides of the track. So a rail track, it's what's, yeah, maybe 1.5 yards
Hmm.
wide, but a dirt track it's like 4 yards wide. So it's a whole different. Just that makes it a whole different experience
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the dog. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest difference. The rule
I
set
got
that
you.
we have over here is more obedience based.
Hmm.
We need to leave the dog at the start line and
Oh.
then go over the goal line before we can
Hmm.
call on the dog.
Hmm.
The dog can start to pull before, but
Yeah.
yeah, they have to be still and then start. So we have no release like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's, yeah, it
Yeah,
makes it
that'd
a
be
little bit
hard.
more more
Challenging. That's challenging
obedience.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but it's otherwise it's really interesting to talk to you and the other guys, because a lot of the training is pretty much the same.
Hmm.
The issues around competing is pretty much the same,
Yeah.
except for the distance to get to the shows. So, but and then there are different rules. Of course, we
Yes.
have, yeah, we
Yes.
have unlimited skips and no fouls at all. So if you, no matter why, you don't succeed, well then you're out. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, overall, I just like the aspect.
yeah,
I mean, I'm the type of person that I'm one of those people that when I'm comfortable with you, like that's why I'll say stuff on here, stuff like that.
yeah,
That I like to have that sportsmanship
yeah,
talking. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
respectful, but I like to tease people. I like to,
yeah,
feel like, he's talking too much. We're gonna wait till when I see him at nationals. I
yeah,
like to do that. I like to have people feel like they're, look, they're they're out there to say like, okay, now you see, stop talking. I want
Yeah,
you to.
yeah,
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like people to tell me stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
And
I
how
mean,
is it at shows? Is it um, do you have like a holding area between the poles where you
uh,
all sit together, or
for the most part, yes. I mean, we usually we have, depending obviously on the arena, right? We'll have a big room. Like for example, let me give you an example for UPF. We'll have a big like enclosed in building with AC and everything. We have the track closer to like the stage where the judges are judging. They're basically looking over onto the track, so they can have like a whole view of the track. And then all throughout the back, you have people sitting down wherever they want. Um, you know, generally, some of us will sit. You have your people that you used to talk to a lot, like your friends that you don't see a lot. You tend to kind of gather along
yeah,
with them, and they're all around you and stuff like that. And but I always like to be somewhere alone because like even though I like to go visit my friends and talk a little smack, I like to sit and look at the track,
yeah,
you know. But it's always a good time. But yes, we all tend to gather and we'll sit among each other. But then if I miss something, I'd be like, what did I miss? And they're like, oh, so so and so.
yeah,
So I always try to choose what best I feel like suits me, for
yeah, yeah,
my view kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how it is with you guys. If you guys could just be anywhere or stuff
No,
like
so
that.
it's the same. It's a designated area where you need
Yeah,
to sit, and it's yeah, depending on the venue,
yeah,
it's bigger or smaller. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, when I started, well, there was a lot of trash talk
yeah,
in that area, and I really
yeah,
love that. Yeah, I
yeah.
come
Me
from a
too.
sports background, so yeah, I find that really really nice.
Yeah.
So and
I,
that's
well, I'm one of them. I tell you that.
yeah.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, and I like that aspect also when it comes to skips.
Yeah,
If you, yeah, when I started, it was one guy that he did this. He never pulled. Pretty much,
yeah,
he just
yeah,
waited and waited and waited,
yeah,
and eventually I went in. And
yeah,
he had a very, very, very good dog, and
yeah,
he beat me the first couple of years,
yeah, yeah,
every show.
yeah,
Um, but and his tactics really worked because he
yeah,
stressed me out,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah.
that's also a part of the game, and
His name wasn't Emmanuel.
no,
No,
he does that, yeah, okay,
he's
he
done
do
that.
that,
Yeah,
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 no,
he's
no,
done that to me
yeah,
a couple of times. But I'm used to his tricks now.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. We trash talk. He'll tell,
yeah,
hey, you need to bring that dog in.
yeah,
Hey, I'm telling you, you need to bring your dog in, Jonathan. So I get it. I get it.
yeah.
He just like that. He just like that.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
that's nice, and yeah, it's even more fun when you are friends. Then
Correct,
it's yeah,
correct,
yeah, yeah,
correct.
way easier.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we've been doing this for almost 1 hour and 15 minutes now.
Okay.
So, yeah. Is there anything that you feel that we have missed, or anything you want the Scandinavian listeners to?
Um, I mean, and this is why I tell everybody, like, I'm just someone kind of here to listen.
Yeah.
I always tell people just listen. Everything's gonna come with time. Take your time. You know, be true to yourself. Like, listen more to your dogs. The trophies and everything. They're gonna come with time. You're gonna get there eventually. But just always be true to your dogs and kind of just listen to them because they're the ones that are really going to tell you when we need to do something else. But other than that, I mean, I'm new. I'm new. I don't have history like some of these guys. And I'm learning. I'm learning from them, and I take bits and pieces, and I go and I take their percentage away. And you know. But overall, I mean, just have fun. Just have fun with the sport. Lighten up because that's you have to have a true, uh, character whenever it comes to it. You have to have a certain type of demeanor because like it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's not that serious.
No.
It's all, we all do it because we want to compete against each other, and we all want to make sure we keep it that way. Bringing more people into the sport, which this is obviously why you're doing it, to bring more awareness and how much people actually truly enjoy this and see a positive side to this
Yeah.
sport, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. It's just normal dog lovers
Correct,
in the end.
correct.
Yeah. That likes to do physical things with the
Yeah,
dogs as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Great. But then it's nationals. That's in November? No?
No, no.
October?
So ADBA National is going to be, I believe, it's the first weekend of October, and
October.
then
Yeah.
UPF is 2 weeks afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So that's the
Yeah.
big goal for this year. And then,
Oh yeah, oh
yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
UPF, to be honest with you, all the, I think where it is at lately, it has the last 2 years has been UPF. This will be the
Yeah.
third year where it's going to be extremely difficult. Not saying that ADBA is not, but the classes are different. Remember, the classes go from, what is it, 0 to 15 and 25, or 15 to 25, and they're at, at the fives and halves and stuff.
Yeah.
The thing now with UPF, I have to compete against dogs that are 40 pounds when I'm in the low 30s.
Yeah.
And it becomes like, now I pull against guys like Emmanuel at UPF because now they fall into my class.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, I believe right now for the next couple of years, UPF is going to have some of the heavier competitions. You're going to see some dogs do some things that you're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
It's going to drop your jaw and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah. I encourage everybody, come out,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can tell you guys. Come out, and be ready,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy the show because, yeah, it feels like it's going to be a big show this year.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. And if anybody wants to follow you, is Facebook the best
Yeah.
way?
So,
Or, yeah.
so I got an Instagram as well. It's basically like
Yeah.
my Working Bull stuff. So it's,
Yeah.
Facebook is Jonathan, Working Bulls, and, my Instagram is, Working Bulls. Yeah.
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 Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you very much, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure as well.
Great. Awesome. Thanks.